Now, it's pretty much universally known at this point that Kathleen Kennedy is by far the most incompetent president of a company such as Lucasfilm, and really dismantling franchises out there like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and technically separate from Lucasfilm, she also had a very big hand in wrecking the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and she's really good friends with Kevin Feige, and really gave him a lot of pointers on throwing in a lot of agendas to the Marvel shows, to the Marvel movies, etc., etc. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject revolving around Kathleen Kennedy insulting the fans in probably the worst and the most pathetic way possible, and how a lot of it has to do with Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, and more. Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy is the type of person that gets very defensive, she plays the victim card, she makes these false apologies all the time, and then moves on to plug her upcoming, shows or movies, whatever she's working on over at Lucasfilm. And the fact that she is rooting for somebody like Leslie Headland, of all people, that's handling the Acolyte, where Leslie is intentionally destroying George Lucas's Star Wars, his philosophy of the franchise, and what it all truly stands for, just goes to show you what kind of person Kathleen Kennedy really is. But let's get down to the specifics here, alright? Now, we know that Kathleen Kennedy always was never a fan of both fandoms. Whether you're a Star Wars fan or an Indiana Jones fan, it doesn't matter. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy still upselling Indy 5 after the box office collapse, and it badly impacted Disney and Lucasfilm, she went on to insult fans of the franchise in the worst way possible by delivering the following. We have come to realize that we didn't meet our goals financially with this film, and though we don't blame this on the creative elements, this was 100% connected to our marketing mishaps, and also the loud and opinionated fans that make up a minority that were the real problem, given that this film has false negative word of mouth. We wholeheartedly believe that we made a film that outperformed the original send-off with The Last Crusade by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg's vision, and it was a shame that we didn't reach as many people as we could. But in the reality sense of things here, the fans were the ones to blame for why our film didn't get as pushed as it should have, and here at Lucasfilm, we are only looking to do better moving onwards. We firmly believe that this film is a masterpiece, and we are so proud of the hard work that was put in by James Mangold and Phoebe Waller. Now guys, let me stop here real quick before I get to the next piece. I don't know if you all knew this, but Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she did play a very big role in contributing to the script. So she is the one that came up with the idea of Helena Shaw punching Indiana Jones out cold, and even came up with the idea of essentially making her so prominent in this role as being the quote-unquote goddaughter of Indiana Jones 5. Alright, that was all Phoebe Waller-Bridge's idea. And it's nothing different than what happened with Bond 25, of how Phoebe came up with the idea of the female character taking up that 007 moniker, and really kind of making that happen in the first act. So, she is relentless, Kathleen Kennedy. She does not care about fans, she does not care about fandoms, doesn't care about source material. Guys, by the way, this is coming from somebody that literally openly stated that when making the Star Wars sequel trilogy, there was no source material to work with. Essentially, she was lying to the general public and saying that there is no Star Wars Legends. That does not exist. That's basically what she said. That's what it translated to. And she will say whatever she has to say to get her point across, right? Either through false apologies, or acting very overly confident in this case, or blaming fans for the failure of projects in this scenario. Now, moving to the next thing here is that we know that Kathleen Kennedy is heavily working on this Rey movie, she's heavily working on the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Those are the three big ones right now that she's really trying to mark as her legacy for Star Wars, and it's gonna fail, and it's gonna fail hard. We can almost guarantee that. So, on to the next. She goes on to elaborate further. This was the ending that Indy deserved and needed to add closure to his life And the biggest struggles we had with making this film were the ongoing demands by fans that were not just toxic, but also making it more difficult for Mangold to work with, which is why he tuned out of social media for a temporary time. With Phoebe and her contributions to this film, really made it possible to make this a better film artistically for this send-off than The Last Crusade, and we applaud her for that. Our number one rule is to never cave into the loud, opinionated minority fans that claim to be fans that are nothing more than doubters, and wanting our creators to fail with our projects. I am still discussing Indy 5 sequels, or a sequel, and how this could work in the form of a film, or even more realistically speaking, a series on Disney Plus this time around, to give something different to the general public. That's our main goal right now, to keep Indy as a franchise alive as much as Star Wars. I don't know about you guys here, Indiana is dead. There's no way of going back to this thing. And not only that, it's not prominent enough after the damage that was done to the Dial of Destiny. Just let it be, let it rest forever and ever. That's what I say. This movie did not need to be done. Nobody was asking for it. If anything, what they could have really done is that they could have done maybe a movie or a series showcasing a younger Indiana Jones, get the proper recasting, and call it a day. You know, I think that's all they really could have, done if they really wanted to do something different. But do it in a more realistic sense than what was done with the Han Solo film. I think that they could have done better with the casting on that, but I digress here. The thing about Kathleen Kennedy, again here, labeling the fans as toxic, labeling them as a minority, and blaming us for impacting the creator's way of thinking, or impacting his, momentum of writing the script or getting the whole story together, is just ludicrous. It's preposterous. It really is. It just goes to show you how out of touch with the reality Kathleen Kennedy really is, and how far she will go to really just blame the fans and put them on the spot and point fingers at them and play the victim card, right? So this is typical Kathleen Kennedy behavior. It's nothing new. It's something that we saw happen with Solo. It's something that we saw happen with The Last Jedi. It's really not something that we have never seen before. I mean, this is all to be expected, right? At the end of the day, she will eventually make more false apologies where, oh, I'm sorry, it didn't meet your expectations, etc., etc., and then goes on to just say, well, we're still proud of the work that we did. It's like an, sorry not sorry attitude, basically, is what she always does. This is exactly why a lot of Hollywood studios want nothing to do with her and how they have blacklisted her. We talked about this many times. And how Disney looks so foolish that they are keeping her on still to this day over at Lucasfilm because of the division over at the board. More than half the board members support Kathleen Kennedy, and the others want her out. And it's an ongoing shakeup, but anyway, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to moon.